Oh my God, he's right. Oh my God. How is he right, but also so wrong at the same time? It's like I'm losing my mind.
I don't care about your fake and gay stock market collapsing, boomers. You locked me in a decaying comedy block apartment over the flu and cost me my job. I'm nearly 40 in the worst job market ever in a century. Because of your greed and selfishness, I voted for this. I'm 24 and I don't care about 401ks. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Remember what I told you guys the other day about how with the Trump tariffs, people weren't going to care because they don't have stocks and they think it's bullshit. And everybody said there's no way they're going to be thinking this. There's no way they're going to.
Does Asmongold not realize that there are more people out there than the couple tweets that he saw? Does Asmongold think that this is only impacting their stock prices? Oh my God. Like the stocks are just reacting to the uncertainty of what is to come. This is going to have the reason why the stock market is reacting the way that it is because of the speculation that tariffs are going to lead to price increases. Price increases, massive inflation is going to lead to negative real wage growth. It is going to diminish purchasing power. People are going to start trying to save as much money as possible or not be able to purchase things that they would normally purchase. They're going to start consuming less. And when they start consuming less, companies are going to make less money. When companies make less money, they're going to engage in layoffs. And this downward trend, this downward spiral will repeat itself in perpetuity. The more people get laid off, the less purchasing power the American labor force has overall, which would lead to a recession and then a depression. A great one. The greatest depression of all time. Believe it, folks. Believe me. So it's not just about stock prices, even though for a lot of wealthy people, like that's the only way that they analyze what's going on. Yeah, they're losing the fake money. They're losing the fake money, sure. But it's not about the stock. It's not about the prices going, stock market. It's not about the value being wiped out from the stock market that is impactful. I don't give a about that. Many people don't give a about that. What matters is what is yet to come.
I think this. Well, for 401ks, I want my country back. And so you're having way more people saying this because the big problem is that I think that whenever you have like a global economy and you're competing against, like, let's say people from India that are willing to do the job for like 1/10 the amount of money that you're willing to do it at, or 50% or 80%, even something less extreme. Is this good for the country that is providing a platform for this to happen for?
Dude, I've never experienced such a unique moment where I literally agree with the principle. Okay, I agree with the principle. Yes, this is the problem with free trade. Yes, you get it. That's great. I'm glad you get this issue, okay? This is a major hurdle that we've cleared. But when you don't have a robust, competitive manufacturing base that was set up prior to these actions, then you just did trade protectionism for manufacturing that doesn't exist. As I said before, it's like you want to build a shed, okay? And a part of that is, using a hammer and a saw and screws and nails, right? Trump did not go and grab the materials necessary. He didn't get the wood necessary to build the shed. There's a shed that exists already. Instead of improving the shed, he just broke it. Yeah, breaking parts of the shed is a necessity for the improvement, but you didn't get the materials. You didn't get the rest of the materials to rebuild it. Now all you've done is just break the shed, bro. Have you ever used the power tool? I have. Have you never seen my garage, dude? We're Harbor Freighted out the wazoo over there. Not this again. Take me down. No, you're getting shook. I'm shaking you. Yeah, it's funny to say, have you ever used a power tool to a guy like me? Normally, it does make sense to say that because I am like, I got soft hands, brother. Like, for sure, right? Except my brother is a madman who literally built a CNC machine from scratch in my garage. He asked about power tools. Harbor Freight is barely power tools. Wait, what? What do you mean? No, it's not barely power tools. But guys, I have a CNC machine in my garage. What are you talking about? Okay? If you think that my garage is a CNC machine, what else do you think is in there? I mean, that is like way above and beyond in comparison to in comparison to whatever power tool you can think of. Like soldering shit, electric saws, like metal saws. There's just so much. The one thing I don't have is a forklift. Like literally, that's the only. Ironically enough, that's the one thing. That's the only thing I don't have in my garage is a forklift. That's it. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost certain we have everything else. Air compressors. Oh my god, that's so annoying. I can't begin to tell you the amount of times I've woken up in the middle of the night because the air compressor that he has a leak on it. So if he doesn't turn it off when he leaves, it just goes. Brrr. It's the loudest thing on the planet. You think, oh my god, like a nuke has been set off in my house.
And in general, I think the answer to that is no. And what's a 401k? Yeah, exactly, right? And I think this is what's happening to a lot of these people, is that people see society and they see, you know what, it's...
Yes, I have a power washer. A 3D printer? Yes, of course I have a 3D printer. I have a CNC machine, which is the OG version. I have everything. I have all the power tools. I'm glad that this chatter asked me what kind of tools I have. The only thing I don't have is a tractor, and like I don't have a tractor, I don't have a forklift, I don't have that kind of stuff, but pretty much everything else I have. This is how you know bro has no motion no more. Elon Musk said he hopes for a zero tariff system between the US and Europe that would effectively create a free trade zone. Yeah, I mean, he's double cooked. He's cooked on the tech front. EU regulations incoming for Twitter, which, you know, great. It should happen. And he's cooked on the Tesla front as well. I mean, he's already cooked on the Tesla front. EU does with Teslas. Everything's computer. I love Tesla.
I don't really like using a lot of like movie comparisons because it's like it's a movie, but like it's like the end of Fight Club, right? Where like everybody, all the banks get destroyed and everything is, all the debt is wiped out, all the credit's wiped out, everything's wiped out. The idea that, and why was that so popular among young men? Even then it was. The reason why is that I think that there is a prevailing idea that young men have, that they are born into a rigged system that's actively working against them. And when they see things like, you know, scholarship opportunities for people who have an identity that's different than theirs, like being women or something like that, they kind of are. Well, that's not the point, right? The point is, see, like, it doesn't matter what people, it doesn't matter what's true. It matters what people think is true. And so this is what people think is true. And so, yeah, globalists hate us. Exactly.
I hate that he says the quiet part out loud so much. He's like, narrative is more important than the truth. Also, yeah, bro did not watch Fight Club, or if he did not understand the point. Who takes advice from this guy? Tens of thousands of people. He commands the attention of 50,000 of the sweatiest dudes you've ever met, your coworkers. He absolutely is like, he is the Joe Rogan, or fills the Joe Rogan void of, he fills the Joe Rogan void of like guys who are too nerdy for BJJ and cops, apparently. Coworkers and cops. Dudes be watching an anti-neoliberalism movie and thinks it's about DEI. Yeah. Actually, the only people I know who watch him are unemployed. Yeah. Wait, this is a ridiculous way to approach the subject matter. There's a lot that he's just like not addressing, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't know the impact that these terrorists will have. But what's always frustrating is hearing about these guys talk about rebuilding American manufacturing. Something that I have spent so much time on, something that I've advocated for my whole professional career. Something that I very clearly put my money where my mouth is on as well. And it's like, I work with these labor unions. I work with American manufacturers. I work with unionized American manufacturers. Okay? And what is so frustrating about this is that Trump is not doing that. Trump is not doing the stuff that you have to do to be able to even entertain the notion of tariffs. That's what's frustrating about it. And without doing the groundwork, without actually building the manufacturing, the manufacturing hub that America is supposed to be, all you're doing is just instituting a broad sales tax on the working poor.
And so this is the reason why you see so much support for the Trump tariffs.
Like trade protectionism, there's no support for the Trump tariffs. He's also wrong. He's in a hug box where he thinks that there's like broad support for the Trump tariffs. There's no broad support for the Trump tariffs. There's not even broad support from the Republican Party for the Trump tariffs. They are kind of terrified of Donald Trump, so they don't want to speak out of turn. But even then, they're still like kind of going, Mr. President, what are you doing? You're really f***ing us up here. Please, Mr. President, don't kill us. What are you doing? Trade protectionism works if there's something to protect. Trade protectionism without actual trade on the domestic front is nothing. It's just a broad sales tax that you implemented. It is interesting seeing him have the same confidence when describing these issues, though, as he does like when he's talking about, like, I don't know, transmont competitions or whatever. And that is probably a part of where this appeal comes from, where people want to hear from someone who is confident, and it makes them feel good, like he knows what he's talking about. And I think in that process, especially because it's directionally along the Trump regime, people are desperate, kind of like how liberals would go to, I don't know, like a David Pacman in the Kamala Harris campaign to hear things about how good it actually was, how good the campaign was. I think that is what he's doing. That's the role he's playing for a lot of Republicans. The role I think Asmongold's playing right now is a person that will confirm the biases that you have, a person that will tell you like, no, Trump is actually based. He's doing this for good reason, and everyone likes it, actually. And it leads people to entertain these delusions. It leads people to entertain delusions. It leads people down this very weird path where they're so biased that they can't see the world outside of their own implicit biases. And it's ironic because people say that about me all the time, but I spend a good deal of my commentary looking directly at what the right wing is saying, and also have an antagonistic relationship with the liberal side of politics as well. So there's never really an opportunity for me to confirm biases that I might have, because they're never demonstrated by any party in the administration. So that's why it's frustrating when people engage in that kind of projection, but it's doubly frustrating when I see it happening in real time. What he's doing is basically telling, like, as a yes man for the admin, he's basically telling people who are desperate to hear something positive from any outlet that they can get, something positive about Trump's tariffs.
It's because people look at, for example, like if you look at the stock market, let me just pull it up. It's the first graph I can find, right? And so anyway, if you zoom in, let me go back. We'll do like right here. So this is in the last year. So a lot of the gains that happened in the stock market, especially after like in 2020 here, a lot of these gains were amounts of money that were gained inside of the top 1% of the population.
Oh my God, he's right. Oh my God. How is he right, but also so wrong at the same time? It's like I'm losing my mind because Trump is doing left populism in his speech, but not with actual policy. So if you're pro-Trump unconditionally, you're going to engage in that left populism. Maybe that even actually works for you. But the problem here is not, the problem here is not what Trump is saying. The problem here is what Trump is doing without examining the actual market, without examining the actual material conditions.
And I think what you're going to see here, and this is what the tariffs are showing you, is that we are going to have a convergence of people who are, basically extremely nationalistic, and they want the country to act in their best interest and not in the best interest of like some.
You can't say the stock market is immaterial and then turn around and say it's going to rebound and it's going to be good because people are nationalistic and they want manufacturing. You can't have people wish a factory. Okay. If that was the case, I would have used my mind power to just beam Detroit back to its glory days overnight. I'd be like, oh, I'm thinking Pittsburgh. Okay, steel industry. It's back. Oh, boom. All of a sudden, factories everywhere. Like, that's not how it works. You need to build it, man. Like, it's just funny because what are they doing? The secret. They're just going to manifest factories all around the country. No, that takes time. There's also training that needs to take place so that you can have the properly trained labor force to be able to work in those assembly lines. Oh my God. You need to train people to even build factories too. Jesus Christ. I don't understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is we do not have the manufacturing base as it stands currently, and the time that it would take to rebuild an even competitive manufacturing base in this country would be at least a decade if, and that's a big if, we got our together. What did you bring me? Of course I ate already. Bro, I would have died if I didn't eat. Whoa, what did you get? No, I'm going to eat it. I'm still hungry. I'm watching Asmongold right now spit. Oh.
It's so good. This is yellow and Georgia.
Oh. Let me see the baklava. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's continue.
Global, international company. And you're going to see that happen. And you're going to see a convergence of that with like extreme left, economic policy. And we're already seeing this happening. And so this is the reason why they don't care about the stock market. It's because the stock market represents a bunch of rich people that control everything, who these people look at.
Dog, the stock market is irrelevant in this conversation. I mean, it sucks for boomers. It sucks for working class people who are losing their 401ks. But the stock market is negligible in comparison to what is yet to come. Massive price increases, a cost of affordability crisis, a cost of living crisis, paired up with a recession and mass layoffs that spiral completely out of control. Yeah, Trump demands are like trying to build on quicksand. Exactly. All right, I tell you about DC food is goated, and there's so much more you haven't tried. Hit me up next time you're in town. No, I believe it now. I'm not kidding when I tell you that his audience is more upset about trans athletes and the DEI than the economy. Look at the subreddit. EU admits climate funds were used against conservatives. What? I don't understand why you sent me Asmongold subreddit. Looking at it, bro. You gotta get it. Are you guys sleeping in the same bed without me? That's f***ed up. These guys are doing gay stuff without me. I'm so washed.
As the ones who've ruined their lives. So why would a young guy who doesn't have any stocks and they feel like they, this is like if you're a young man, it's hard for you to get a job. There are, systematic ways that you're disenfranchised or denied opportunities. And on like the culture, it seems like it's okay to make fun of young men and other things that are similar to that. No stocks. Exactly. They want revenge. Yes, exactly. Rust Belt revenge. That's exactly it. And so this is the reason why you see so many people supporting the Trump tariffs. And this is the part that a lot of people won't say out loud.
Dog, there is no, the amount of support for the Trump tariffs is minimal. Okay. Even from the people who support Trump, there is an understandable anxiety coming from them because they're scared about the cost of living going up crazy style in the short term. It's not about the stocks. I don't know why he's hyper focusing on the stocks. Like, I guess it's about the stocks because the Republicans only care about it. I don't know. The stocks are the initial indication that things are falling apart. As I've said over and over again, the gains in the stock market are privatized, but the losses are socialized. So when the stock market is doing well, you're not really going to experience that. You're going to get maybe a crumb in your 401k. But when the stock market plummets, you will experience the impact because you're going to get fired. Tying this back up to like the male loneliness epidemic or whatever the DEI is insane. There is some truth to what Asmongold is saying in terms of like how men feel, young men feel. He's not wrong about that front. Like a lack of hope, assuming that their future is completely broken, paired up with an educational crisis for young men in particular, because there is a disparity there, right? Because it's not like women or young women are having an easy go at this market, right? that's not the case. But young men are up from an early age because they're not even getting the same educational attainment as young women are. So their opportunities are even more diminished. Like young women go and work at a job after getting a college degree. Young men have even less jobs to work at because they don't even get the college degree. So there is a real feeling of resentment. That part is correct. I agree with what Asmongold is saying. The issue, however, is that he's not redirecting that resentment towards things that matter, and instead, he's redirecting that resentment towards things that don't matter. Hyper-focusing on DEI and all the other externalities that the Republican Party shifts people's attention towards in an effort to further destabilize the economy, in an effort to keep stealing from the working poor. And it works. It works incredibly successfully. As long as you go, yeah, based, DEI, it's die. DEI is getting died. It's killing DEI. We like it. We're done with the wokes. It's revenge time. Which is also ironic for Asmongold to say because, like, he's not even in the financial instability that, like, many of his young male fans are. You know, he is very financially stable. It's not like he also experiences the resentment and the frustration of, like, the manufacturing moving overseas so that you never will be able to get a good paying union job in a Rust Belt town. Like, you're a Twitch streamer, you know what I mean? And so am I. So you can make the argument like, well, Hasan, how can you say you understand it? Well, because I work with these people. I want to actually build a robust manufacturing base in the United States of America. This is kind of my whole goal, my job. This is all I do. As someone who wants this, I looked at what Donald Trump is doing with first resentment and anger and then with envy because he gets to break the system but not even build it. He just gets to break it. And the breaking of the system part is, I think, harder than building. So the fact that he can get the hard part across and have no interest in the comparatively easier part of, like, spending money and building factories is so frustrating.
They want it to go down. They think these companies, these international companies that are getting rich off of these.
Also, the other side of this that's definitely frustrating is that he does say something that I oppose and vehemently oppose. As a matter of fact, is the truth does not matter. People's feelings matter more than the truth. If everyone feels a certain way, then it might as well be the truth, which I think is at the heart of our disagreements, because the truth matters. It matters more than what people's personal feelings are. You're basically saying, like, as long as you can lie to people successfully enough and they believe it, then it doesn't matter what the truth is. It's a horrifying thing to say.
Sweatshop laborers, and, they've put Americans out of a job. They want it to go down. Yeah, buy the dip. No, I'm being serious, right? How does this benefit them, though? Because it hurts somebody that they don't like, and that's good enough. See, this is the part that you don't understand, is that when people feel desperate, they'll set somebody else on fire. If people like this feel cold, they're willing to set somebody.
It's crazy he can recognize this, but not recognize, like, why someone could be led to desperation and do incredibly violent acts against, like, the state of Israel, for example, due to 76 years of occupation and apartheid and genocide. Interesting.
Else on fire to warm themselves up. That's the way it works. And so that's how it happens. It's 40% right. No, and I'm telling you guys, this is what's going to happen. And you're seeing it now. And tariffs happen like this caused the Great Depression. You're right, though. Yeah, but I don't think that these people are already in the Great Depression in their mind. They're already in the Great Depression. They've been in the Great Depression. These are people that have, like, crushing student aid debt. They have, no real sense of, like, upward mobility in the society or anything like that. And so they're like, okay, you want to have a great recession or whatever? That's fine. And I think that really it is a nuclear option. It is an extreme nuclear option.
Dude, he is so close. How are you so close to understanding everything that's going on? How? Okay. There's going to be a turning point here for him, I suspect. Well, not for him, because he gets his notes from his fans. He gets his notes from his subreddit. and also from his chat, but like his chat is eventually going to go, dude, what the eggs are like $25. A banana. I don't even eat fruit like that, but I got a banana the other day. I saw a banana at the grocery store. It was $35. Why are you laughing? I'm hypothesizing. I'm thinking of an Asmongold fan. I don't think they eat fruit. Why are you laughing at me? That's crazy.
But I think that a lot of young men are more than willing to take it. And that's why if you look at all of these posts and people, almost every single person who's posting positively about the tariffs is a young man. Have you noticed that? Because I've been reading about this a lot. I've been reading about it trying to figure out like what the is going on here. No careers, only entry-level crap. Exactly. And so, yeah, they're Trump cultists. No, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. Basically,
it's not beyond that. Those guys have a higher likelihood of being a Trump cultist. No, they are Trump cultists. And he's right about recognizing the resentment that a lot of these people feel towards the wealthy, towards the stock market, towards the elites that have destroyed their futures. That all is real. That is true. He's nailing it. The problem is Trump is not the solution to this. Trump is, as I've said a million times over, expertly capitalizing on that resentment and carrying himself to victory over that resentment, while simultaneously redirecting that anger back to vulnerable populations that didn't do any of this.
These types of things happening, and I'll read this again. This is the way that people think. I'm 24.
One of those young guys, a 40-year-old men's rights guy and a sex tourism author. Oh, that's the one guy. I saw the tweet. He lived in Georgia, right? And wrote about how like you can do tourism in Georgia. Not the state, the country.
Or I don't care about 401ks. I am still paying off my $10,000 car.
Not this guy.
That I had to buy at 12% interest rate because Biden hiked the rates for first-time buyer rates. I have a $250 a month insurance payment because you let 100 million illegal immigrants drive without licenses.
He bought a $10,000 car at a 12% interest rate. We finally arrived at a dude who's worse than like the dumbest guy joining the Marine Corps. Bro, walk at that point. You know what I'm saying? What the yeah, just build your own car at that point. That's crazy. Also, what kind of car is 10 grand? In this day and age, under the Brandon regime, you found a car for 10 grand. Okay, Kelly Blue Book value 10 grand. But then also you have to get a 12% interest rate loan to purchase it is crazy. Like it would have to be like my Toyota Camry, my 2010 Toyota Camry. Bro had negative credit to get that APR. Yeah.
My rent is nearly $2,000 a month because you made it illegal to build and imported millions of foreigners to replace me. So a lot of young guys, they see an old movie, right? And it's like a guy that has just like your traditional
I swear, Asmon gets more screen time on your own stream than he actually streams. Yeah, definitely, dude. Guy who says this for 8 hours nonstop is getting more screen time on my stream on a day where I was literally at a pro-Palestinian rally for the first 4 hours of the day. And I'm using him as a North Star to understand where the conservative mindset is. Thank you, chatter.
Everyday job, and he has a wife and kids and a house. And they think about
at this point, it's just hogwatch. Everybody loves hogwatch, but when I'm doing it with Asmon, they're like, well, he's moderate. Why are you doing it? He's my favorite content creator. Not gonna lie, you on this man's nuts. We all know he's dumb as... Why is it that no one says this when I talk about Shapiro? It's just very shocking. Like, I'm not talking about Asmongold's like drama or whatever the I'm talking about his political commentary, specifically as the largest political commentator on the platform. He is the largest right-wing political commentator right now. I am ideologically against his worldview. I oppose his ideas. And it's no different than watching Fox News at this point. Actually, it's even more instructive than watching Fox News at this point. Ask yourself why you go, nah, this is dumb. This isn't drama. I'm not like daggering Asmongold's like personal shit here. I'm talking about his commentary, and I think I'm being relatively fair because there are assessments that he's making that are correct. about the resentment that people feel, about the anger that people feel, about why they have a positive outlook on the stock market collapse. But I'm also explaining to you in the process that there is a short-sightedness here, which I think he will inevitably go back on. Are you leaving? Are you crying? Alex is crying.
I'm not crying.
He's crying about he's crowed. He's crying. He's crying about the future of America. He's listening to Asmongold speaking, and he's like, how poetic. The way he described white male resentment towards DEI and immigrants replacing them. It's nice of you to do that. This man can show empathy to anybody. Ain't no way you are this dumb. What do you mean relatively fair? You are just here for money on wokies. What?
I have that. And they assume that it's because of these people that have a lot of the wealth. And the fact is that they're right. To a big extent, they're right. A lot of the reasons why these people don't have any money is because all of the money and wealth is consolidated in the top 1% of the society. That they're right. And so the problem is that how far are these people willing to go in order to get what they believe to be their dignity back? Right? It's everybody else's fault. Yeah, it is. And that's the way that they're going to look at it. And that's the point that I'm making. Why are you making it sound like tariffs are such an insane idea? I don't care about what you think about them at all. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That's not the point. The point is, why do people support them? Why are people against them? And so it's the same reason why all of the people that were talking so great about...
No, I think... Wait, what do you mean? That definitely... So he's not giving his own perspective on this at all? He's just simply referencing a person that likes the tariffs? That's all he's doing? And he's explaining what the commentary is? Like, what... Dude, this centrism stuff is crazy. He just dodges. So when you ask Asmongold his own personal convictions on a matter, this is what he does. He's like, oh, I don't have any opinion. I'm just talking about other people's opinions.
Killing a person that, worked at one of these big companies are now crying about the big companies losing market value.
Wait, that's the reason why people say he's a centrist and he's not right wing?
It's because they don't care about the person, but they've got stock in the company. That's the reason why. And this is what I've said before about how every single time people have values that are completely self-referential. There's no principle in this. There's nothing in this at all. It's hilarious parallel. No, but am I wrong? Yeah, am I? No, I don't think so. And so anyway, this doesn't only affect big companies. No, you're right. It doesn't. But it does affect big companies.
He's a centrist who said he will 100% vote for J.D. Vance in the next election. Yeah, real centrism.
Companies. That's it. And so you're totally right. Yes. And I think that also most of the companies that people have their money invested into, that they're complaining about stocks, most of those companies have CEOs that, if you used Luigi's logic, deserve a bullet in the back of the head. That's the way it is. And I'm not saying you should do that. I think that's a terrible idea, but that's what he did. And they were, you're wrong. Okay. Okay. All right. Don't say I didn't warn you. I said this is going to happen. I said it was going to happen 2 days ago, and we're seeing it happen now. And I think that there's nothing that's more dangerous than people that have nothing left to lose. And I think that's the reason why so many people are okay with the massive discord and panic that the Trump tariffs create, because they want that. They want that to happen because it's a visceral...
Wait, so he's against Trump's tariffs? What? I thought it was based. He's literally saying Trump's tariffs are basically like Luigi Mangione-ing. In a way, Trump is like Luigi Mangione, except unlike Luigi Mangione, he's out here doming multiple CEOs at the same time. Okay, which is ironic because that's not what's going on. CEOs are the people who suffer the least in these sorts of instances. It's actually the working class that suffers the most in these instances. CEOs are not the ones who are going to get laid off because of Trump's dumbass tariff policies. It's going to be the average Joe that works at the assembly line, or the person that works in the sanitation side of things. Like, the janitor is going to get fired, right? It sounds like he's saying everyone dejected young man is a non-ideological accelerationist. He's saying that people complaining about tariffs also support Luigi and hate CEOs. Yeah, that's consistent. You can complain about tariffs because you understand that the way that Donald Trump is actually presenting these tariffs is idiotic. and is going to not just cause a market collapse, but something significantly worse than just market collapse. Mass layoffs, an economic downturn, people no longer being able to afford. Did you just steal from my minibar? Bro, you are crazy. You're out? All right. This was a lovely day. What did you get me? A little red book. I'll write my quotations. Wow. Yeah. They call me the chairman. Did you write anything in it already?
No.
Let me read this guy, bro.
The
Every
Memory Police
time. The memory police. He's
by
saying.
Yoko Ogawa. Oh, it's so fucking good.
Wait. You did write something here.
No, I didn't write anything.
You are so much more handsome than me. You are so much cooler than me.
That's private.
And also, you are right. I am not in favor of complete abolition. That's crazy that you said that. Crazy that you said that. See you tomorrow.
Bye, chat. I didn't cry
Alex,
this time.
that's Alexander Lol overruled.
Isn't that cute? Look at that little
Yeah,
pencil.
it is very cute. This is nice. Thank you. Bye.
It's like a visceral revenge that they have against a elite economic ruling class that they feel like has disenfranchised them for their whole life. So they don't have any stocks. They don't care about any of this stuff. They want all of this stuff to burn down. It's like, again, it's the end of Fight Club. And you can say that's bad. You're not thinking too much into the future. And I think, yeah, it is short-sighted in a lot of ways. Absolutely. But it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what they think, because they're the ones that are acting on it, not you. So that's it. I'll read a few more of these comments, and we'll talk about the tariffs more. But I spent like probably 2 hours reading posts about this yesterday, and like trying to understand, like, what are people thinking? Like, why is this happening? Why is there such a big disconnect? And that's what I think is going on here. It's long side, exactly. Actually, well, for them, it's not. I understand that you can have like a long-term perspective, and I think that moving manufacturing to the U.S. is a good idea, especially as we transition to automation, because if we don't have, local national manufacturing, the U.S. will cease to be a producer in almost anything other than like intellectual property. So I think that it's definitely a good decision in some cases to have manufacturing move back over, but this isn't really what people are saying nowadays, right? It's not. You want to know what the irony of this statement is? It doesn't matter if manufacturing is here or overseas, if it's all automated. In terms of the economic impact, sure, you can say, oh, we must have the manufacturing here because we want to, we want to avoid like China shutting off the faucet of manufacturing and find ourselves in shaky ground, right? But in terms of the impact that manufacturing here or overseas will have, as long as it's as long as it's still automated, is marginal in terms of the economy. Let him be right for once. No, it's like, this is only if you think about things from the perspective of like national security. If you bring all the factories back here, but then you don't have people working in those factories, then it doesn't matter whether they were in Vietnam or China or anywhere else for that matter. Because it's not just about building robust American manufacturing, is not just about making sure that we make like face masks or toilet paper or toasters or microwaves or commodities, so that if China shuts off the faucet of manufacturing to the United States of America in a period of instability, then we're cooked. That's only one aspect of this. Because if we automate it entirely, then no one actually gets a job. And if no one gets a job, then people are still insanely poor and insanely angry. You understand? Yeah, you're just a feudal serf at that point. And your lordship owns you and your life. I agree that it won't matter in the end, but if the production was within the nation, because it would be a lot easier to advocate for a redistribution policy that takes wealth and distributes it, and that if it was overseas, at least it won't happen that way, though, tragically. No, it's not. It's not easier. Think about the redistributive policies that we can advocate for right now. The reason why we can't advocate for them is because labor power is diminished in this country. And without labor power, you have no way to advocate because you have no pressure.
You have no mechanism of pushback. So if all of the factories that we open up are built, in the short term, that leads to construction jobs. But in the long term, the amount of jobs that creates, the amount of full-time jobs that it creates is marginal. It's minimal, inconsequential. And as a matter of fact, it probably displaces the existing labor force because now everyone's moving into automated facilities. So if you don't work at those automated facilities, then you're completely outside of the structure of commodity production. So you have no power over it. So you can't stop it from happening in times of in times of necessity when you want to engage in collective bargaining. I have never been against automation. I've never been against technological improvements. Having said that, however, I am against the way that capitalism dictates what is done with the profits due to automation and technological improvements. Automation and technology is not supposed to displace the pre-existing labor force. It's supposed to lower the burden of the pre-existing labor force. It's supposed to allow you to make more money while doing less work, okay? This is the problem.
They aren't thinking it's not deep. Well, they are thinking. They're thinking that this is one thing that you need to keep in mind. And this is, remember what I said before about how, like, I can understand why a person joins ISIS or why a person joins, like, Hezbollah or, Hamas? And, like, people got mad at me. They were like, oh, well, how could you possibly do that? How could you possibly commiserate with a terrorist? This is the same thing.
I mean, he ain't wrong. Never mind. I'll take it back. He does understand it, I guess. I was wrong initially to say, how does he not understand it? It's not like radical Islamist ideology that causes people to react in violent ways. It is directly a consequence of the violence that they experience.
It's the same thing. It's just a different flavor, and it's not as extreme. Why are you putting their extreme views on a pedestal? Because a lot of people have them. That's the reason why. Yeah, I don't care about tariffs because I pulled my investments and put them in an interest-bearing account. It was obvious this was coming. Yeah, sure. They're acting. I do take issue. Like, I understand what he's trying to say here in terms of like the advocacy for the collapse of the global markets from people who have nothing and people who have no hope. But that's not the same as a dude joining a militant formation that is militarily trying to stop a significantly more powerful country from killing it. Like, I would not compare ISIS to Hezbollah, and I certainly would not compare ISIS to Hamas either. ISIS is a destabilizing force in the region. Hamas and Hezbollah, on the other hand, are forces for sovereignty. This is a major difference. In their own immediate interest. What is the 401k?
Yeah, the same. I would say the same for the Houthis as well, for the Ansar Allah movement as well.
Matter if they can't afford breakfast or basic goods. This is the premise of a tariff enjoyer. This is absolutely it. They've grown up in recessions and downturns, and the only thing that they saw grow was the numbers of billionaires. Of course, they're mad. They're acting in their own immediate.
This feels like I'm watching like QAnon style rallies taking place. Not saying that what he's saying is QAnon, but it reminds me of a time when I was like watching all these anti-vaxxer rallies and they're like, we hate big pharma billionaires. They're cruel and up. But then their solution to all of that uncontrollable anger that is justifiable in many ways, but their solution is so off base. And the same thing here, which is like hating billionaires is good. It's healthy. Okay. Feeling resentful towards billionaires is a healthy resentment to have in your heart. That's why even when people yell at me and they're like, Hasan, you're so wealthy, you, I'm like, no, that's not bad. It's a healthy attitude to have towards every person that is rich. Okay, feel that in your heart, love it. I'm not your enemy, but it's okay. All right, not gonna stop you from getting mad at a rich person. The problem here is you get mad at rich people, and then you literally follow along their agenda of saying, we're not the enemies, it's trans people. Do you understand? Do you get it? That's my issue. Be mad at rich people and stay mad at rich people. Don't be mad at rich people and then elect a rich person to abide by the wishes of the rich or wishes of the rich. You're not using your wealth to do capitalism, though. I know, but good luck explaining that to people. They don't want to understand it. It doesn't matter.
401k matter if they can't afford breakfast or basic goods. That is exactly it. Losers who are bad with money had no retirement plan, no investments, are okay with tariffs, right? Yeah, and
Capitalism isn't what's wrong with this country. It's crony capitalism. Capitalism is fine. Yeah, real capitalism hasn't been tried. This is something different.
This is what I said before about how, you know, whenever we have automation, we're going to have to bring back slavery or do something that's similar to that, maybe kill a bunch of people. Because what are you going to do with all these people that, you know, don't have a top 10% level of intelligence in order to perform some kind of a job, right? That's still not removed by AI. Well, what do you do with them? Well, you have to do something. I'm telling, like, people don't see it the way I see it. That, like, people don't. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. If you think this is bad, this is only going to get worse. It's only going to get way worse. And so UBI, depopulation. Yeah, I remember when COVID came out and I was like, oh, are they doing it? Because I was thinking, because I always thought a really good way to kill a bunch of people would be like do a plague or something, right?
What is this conversation, man? What is going on, brother? Like, he would be spared. I mean, he's rich. He'd probably be fine. But no, I don't think. I mean, I don't think Asmongold believes this either, that COVID was a bioweapon released to, like, cull the masses.
But because, like, you know, that worked for Europe, and it didn't really happen, but that's what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, the COVID, yeah, well, I mean, you know, yeah, China got early access. And anyway, let's see here. Yeah, what a crazy season release. Yeah, crazy, right? We'll get the Pareto principle. This outcome is mathematical certainty in any economy. Of course it is. And it's a mathematical certainty in all realities. So, yeah.
What?
And let's see here. This is, I want to let you know that following since January, acceptable compelled speech, premise of debate, ban for debating. If you want to argue about one of my moderators, listen, my mods are gods, okay? I'm not going to hear any negative complaining about them.
Okay, I agree with all that. All right, I agree with what he's saying about his mods.
Things, right?
I feel the same way about my mods as well.
Otherwise, they pretty much do this for free.
Okay. I don't care about...
a lot. My view on the tariffs, I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows.
You better take that chair home. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna put it in my ass.
I think that it's massively destabilizing. I know people, I've had friends of mine contact me and they've said, like, yeah, bro, like, our company is, like, way worse. Like, we have this massive issue. We're thinking about doing layoffs, right? So, like, I've had people tell me, like, that they're really bad. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Do you think he'll revert it? I think that he'll leverage the tariffs in order to get certain negotiation concessions from different countries. That's what I think will happen. Will the tariffs be, will the tariffs in their current form exist in the long term? I do not think the answer to that is yes. I don't think that in, 6 months from now, we're going to be looking at the exact same tariffs. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. They're already negotiating? Yeah, of course they are. Because it would be bad for them too. It's bad.
Dude, there is no... I mean, there are substantive aspects of his commentary when at least he, like, recognizes the resentment that, like, young white men especially feel due to their material conditions. But as far as, like, how these tariffs are applied, what the actual impact of these tariffs are beyond the immediate market volatility, none of that. 15 minutes and not a single mention of, like, what happens when tariffs are instituted. Why are these tariffs instituted? Why, like, what mathematical calculation has the Trump administration erroneously placed ahead of us and to suggest that these other countries are us over? It doesn't make any sense. The fact that people are just like, no, this is brilliant commentary means that I think people are desperate to hear from someone that they see as a position of authority that they agree with. You staying at the Trump Hotel? Yeah. It's kind of crazy. 15 minutes into a 24-minute video about tariffs, about what is happening, and there is no explanation for what has happened. He acknowledged that this is only the beginning. No, from the perspective of the anger that people feel, not about what these tariffs are going to do, especially because if he comes to the conversation with a recognition of what, like, why these tariffs are being implemented. He can have a position on whether or not it is appropriate to implement these tariffs. Does he have a position on trade protectionism versus free trade? None of that has been discussed in this conversation so far. He actually said he doesn't know when asked about it directly. That's what's so shocking to me about this commentary, especially considering that it got 800,000 views. Like, I'm thinking about it as a political commentator myself, and I feel like even Ben Shapiro at least has like a coherent worldview on this matter, and he's not simply just shooting from the hip. You know what I mean? But I guess that in and of itself is also interesting and instructive, because that means that the market has a demand for this kind of commentary over trying to make sense of what is going down, what is happening, what will potentially happen in the future.
For us, and it's bad for them. And this is like, again, Trump negotiates, and this is the way that a lot of people that are very good negotiators, they walk the razor's edge of being a great negotiator by being
like, the tariffs are not implemented here. I'll address it directly, even though I've done a video on this already. You can go watch it if you're confused about the tariff stuff. Holy, I spoke at the Palestine rally in DC, already up. Let's go, editors. Republicans cope with Trump tariffs. Holy, they just dropped 3 videos in the same hour. This is crazy. It's tariff time. This is informative. This is instructive. This will help you understand what the tariffs are, why they were implemented, how they were implemented, and how stupid the Trump administration is. But to respond here briefly, 1, Donald Trump put forth completely ridiculous tariffs that he claimed foreign countries are placing upon the United States of America. And their calculation was not actually real trade barriers, even though they implied that that was the calculation they were conducting. And maybe even like VAT, for example, value-added tax or whatever, which wouldn't be a tariff. It would be just a broad tax on all value added, you know, like a sales tax. But instead, he actually didn't even do that. He just simply looked at the trade deficit and made up the calculation off of that. If his purpose is to reduce the trade deficit, countries that actually sell a lot more to us than we sell to them, if his goal is to reduce the trade deficit, there's a lot of things that Trump needs to do before engaging in a tariff war. He needs to build an industrial base so that we can actually increase our output. Trump has not done that. Trump simply broke the structure in its entirety and basically created a mass sales tax to the tune of 20 to 30% potentially across the board. This will have severe consequences on global trade if maintained. It will have severe consequences on the domestic economy as well, because it will create massive inflation almost overnight. And in that process, demand will go down because people don't have purchasing power. And when demand goes down, companies will have to shutter their businesses. Layoffs will happen, and the economy will spiral out of control. These are the reasons why, while I am in favor of trade protectionist policies, Trump's tariff regime is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. He's putting the cart before the horse. And there isn't really even a horse, just a cart. And the cart is not even really a cart. He just broke the cart. He's doing everything wrong. This is precisely the reason why I'm confused as to what he's saying, because he talks about the resentment that people feel and how it's like breaking the economy, and then even compares them to ISIS or Hamas, which are not similar to one another with the exception of being Muslim, I guess. He also must understand that these tariffs are not great for the American economy in general beyond the stock market collapse. Because otherwise he wouldn't say that these guys supporting it are extremists. But he's not saying that at all. He's not describing why these decisions are bad or even good, as a matter of fact.
Extremely what's the word? Just like not callous, but just not even giving a, right? They aggressive, unpredictable. Yes, exactly. Harsh, abrasive. Well, yeah, it's completely unpredictable. And that there's no degree of self-preservation with them. And if you're negotiating with a person that has no perception of self-preservation, it's very, very scary.
Like what is the negotiation? What is the outcome of these negotiations? Because if the outcome is, like, for example, for Vietnam to lower its tariffs, Vietnam had a 5% tariff on American goods. Okay, they lower it to 0%. They said they would do that. Trump claims that Vietnam has a 90% tariff on U.S. goods, not 5%. He says it's 90%. So what is the negotiation here? Is the negotiation that Vietnam has to purchase more American goods to make up for the trade deficit that we have with them? If that's the case, who's making these goods? What are these goods that Vietnam is supposed to purchase? Does Vietnam have the money to purchase these goods? They have the purchasing power to buy American products? They don't. The answer is no. And it's not like we have a robust system in place to begin with to give them any of these goods. Yeah, it's like demanding Vietnam pay the U.S. reparations for the trade deficit.
To negotiate with a person like that, because you never know what they're going to do. They'll set themselves on fire if they mean it'll burn you. And so, right? Like, how do you deal with that? So that's the reason why Trump is, I think, strong at negotiating, is because he's willing to set a bunch of people on fire. Straight up. Like, that's the reason. And, like, if you negotiate with a person like that, that's really hard to do, right? Because it's basically like, yeah, it'll hurt us, but it'll also hurt you. How much do you want to get hurt? And that's it. And it's, again, you could say it's like a mafia tactic or whatever, but it does work with a lot of people.
Yeah, madman theory. Trump has picked up all of Reagan's worst qualities and Nixon's worst qualities. Welcome back, Ronald Nixon, Richard Reagan.
Left today? Am I really? I mean, I don't think that I'm really leaning left. I think this is anything that I'm saying left wing here? I feel like this is just the truth. This is the way it is. I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, who said that? I don't know. Yeah, it's pure logic. Yeah, this is all logic. And so anyway, yeah, my reg button is bigger than yours. Exactly. We imposed tariff in 2017. Multiple countries in the U.S. economy flourished under Trump's administration. How is this any different? I'm not.
He didn't even say anything. He simply said it'd be good to have manufacturing in the United States of America in order to preserve our national security, especially at a time when all of it will be automated anyway. A leftist position on the matter would be it's good to have manufacturing in the United States of America, not on the virtue of national security, but because that way you have good paying American jobs, people that are engaging in busy work, decent benefits, people with control over their own lives. People want to go to work, feel like they're making something of value, and be able to put food on their table and not have to worry about their finances. That's what's good about having jobs here. Not that like a bunch of robots are going to be on the assembly line. And even if it was a bunch of robots on the assembly line, there should still be people on said assembly line. Even if they're not doing anything, even if they're just sitting over the robot and not doing shit, they should still be there. They should still get the profits. At the end of the day, work is an entirely made up concept. Okay, it's what you make of it. Just as computers have made certain aspects of work infinitely easier, we shouldn't have reduced the labor force in the process. We should have actually reduced the workload in that process, the work hours in that process. We should have increased the wages in that process, adjusted to the output. But productivity skyrocketed since the 80s, and wages remain stagnant as opposed to the productivity. That means that you're making more and not seeing the benefits of making more. Productivity and profits skyrocket. Wages remain stagnant in the process. That's how profits keep going up.
Why, like, nobody knows what's going to happen. Why are we even debating this? Nobody has any idea.
That's not true.
What the end game for this is. So
I mean, there's a little bit of truth of what is predictably going to happen, which is Donald Trump, as it stands currently, no matter how unstable he is, if you listen to what he's saying, if you actually think about what he just did, you will understand that it's a mass sales tax and prices are going to increase. That's a given. That's a certainty. That would already happen even if there was a competent manufacturing base here in the United States of America, by the way.
So yeah, I mean, these are blanket tariffs. It's very different. Well, I'm saying, like, nobody knows. That's my point. Trump bootlickers are nihilists and Joker style, watch it burn, not a serious people. Well, and this is a really good point that you're bringing up here, is that tariff bootlickers are nihilists and Joker style, to watch it all burn, not serious people. Well, they don't need to be serious to cause serious damage, do they? And the Joker blew up a bunch of buildings. So do you want to have somebody like that in your city? Nope, you don't. And so that's the way it is. But no, and he's right. Like, that's absolutely it. But here's the thing, is that when you feel like you've grown up in a circus, you turn into the Joker. What a surprise. And this is the reason why, again, a lot of the people that are supporting these tariffs are young people, especially young men. The stock market's crashing? Yeah, and they don't give a about that. It's fake money anyway. That's the reason. Okay, bozo. No. See, you might not understand. This is what I was saying before. Again, do you see how all this fits together about how, like, they need to, like, bring back some form of, like, neo...
Watching Asmongold's commentary has left me more confused than I was prior about what it is that he's actually doing here. He just reacts to, like, how people are reacting to seemingly market conditions. Like, there's not really a lot of analysis beyond people are angry and repeating that over and over again and with different words. Maybe I'm missing something and you guys are, or all these other people are tuning into this frequency and I'm just missing it. I'm being super serious. Or maybe he considers this to be like a managed pivot.
Feudalism, or, you know, like have a depopulation effort or something.
I mean, you don't get it, and that's why you are not so popular as he is and never be. Yeah, I mean, there are infinitely more intelligent people than myself out there that would probably make better sense of everything that was going on, and I'm more popular than they are. That doesn't mean that I'm always right and they're always wrong. Popularity doesn't necessarily mean that... Popularity, I don't think you understand this. Popularity doesn't mean you're smart or making sound analysis. The Big Bang Theory was the most popular TV show. What does that say? Just says that a lot of people liked watching it. Also, my attitude is not about being the most popular. My goal is to definitely expand my outreach, but it would be meaningless if people simply watched me to, like, hate watch, for example. Sure, I'd make a lot of money. But if I had, I don't know, 100,000 hate watchers rather than 35,000 people who understand what I'm advocating for, my finances would be significantly better, but my goals would not be achieved. If you were around earlier today, you would understand what I'm trying to do. When we were at the protest, surrounded by people who were like, listen, I'm here because of you. You opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And now I'm participating in the process. Now I'm actually doing something. I'm demonstrating in the streets for these causes that you care about and these causes that I care about. Echo chamber? No, you misunderstood what I was saying. Because it would, if 100,000 hate watchers were in here, then that would be an echo chamber as well. They would just be in the, their opinions would be in the opposite direction. My goal is, I guess in some ways, my goal is to convince you, or at least have you approach subject matter with a semblance of charitability, with the hopes that I can change your mind on certain things and then set you on a different path, on a journey of self-improvement where you will inevitably go out and also participate in the work necessary to make change. What do you think the conversion rate is of a hate watcher switching sides? 0.01%? That's not true. Even at the protest we were at, the dude was an organizer. And he came up to me and he's like, I initially did not like you because my friend showed me a Willie Mack show video of you. And only recently did I watch your commentary and realize, like, I was wrong. And now I'm a massive fan. That happened literally an hour ago. Dude's a organizer. You get exposed. It was a fake protest. Absolutely 100%. Trump has overwhelming support. 27,000 likes, by the way, on this. You had 12K viewers after October 7. Asman cannot show himself in a position of vulnerability within his new political arc. Thus, he's slowly pivoting from his hard pro state position to a more capital C one. He's positioned himself closer to Joker Luigi now after championing the state for 3 months. Yeah, I paid everyone to go there, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't want to speak to an empty podium, you know? My bad. The truth is out. I also paid the people extra to come up to me and ask to take photos. And even more if they were to tell a heartfelt story about how I changed their perspective on a matter.
Because, like, you're going to have so many of these people that inside of a democratic system, they will outvote you and cause problems. I just, like, I don't think people understand what's coming. They really don't. Why would we give a about that old rich losing money? Exactly. And these are people, and you know who really cares?
Dude, in this conversation, he doesn't even reveal what his position is. You know what's funny about all this is, like, people get really mad at me because I have firmly held convictions and I'm not afraid of telling you exactly what I believe. You can make up your mind after you hear what I have to say, but I'm not going to shelter you from my perspective. Yes, Benny Johnson used to be a BuzzFeed writer. I know. Why are you surprised to find that out? A man who doesn't tell you what his a person, a commentator, or anyone who says that they're doing common sense doesn't matter. If they're talking about politics and they don't tell you with clarity what their perspective is, they're lying to you. Okay? The market doesn't have tits, so he's unsure of his position. Well, think about it like this. It's like the market forcibly got their tits reduced in size by Donald Trump. And what's crazier about it is that Donald Trump wanted to make bigger titties. He said, I'm doing this to make the markets bigger. Okay? As a matter of fact, I'm also bringing ass back into the market. That's what Donald Trump said. Like, if the market is a video game, Donald Trump basically said, I'm going to give this market bigger titties and a bigger ass. Okay? Areolas, you're going to see it. What ended up happening is a reduction in tit size and no ass. Because the fundamentals were never there. And he seemingly just made the video games way gayer and with no... It's messed up. You got to let that analogy go. This won't end well. As with a pretty box standard postmodern conservative, doesn't even know what he believes until he sees how people are reacting to it. This video explains it well. I don't even think he's a conservative. I think he is LARPing as a Trump supporter. But he's doing it in a way where he couches all of his assessment in common sense and doesn't assume a position unless he recognizes that there is deep popularity for it, such as deportations. So much so that he'll say things that are truly inhumane about, like, you know, joining an ICE deportation raid and presenting himself as like Ash Ketchum. But beyond that, like, in this period of uncertainty, he's just trying to read the tea leaves, and he recognizes that there's a lot of people who resent the tariffs. So he's just simply talking about why people like it without ever telling you why he likes it. He's not telling you he likes it. He's not telling you he doesn't like it either. He's simply telling you why some people like it and some people don't like it.
Cares a lot about stocks. Two groups of people care a lot about stocks. Number one is, obviously rich people, and number two is old people.
Why should we give the rich old they're losing money? It's not about your grandparents losing their retirement fund. Oh my God. It's about you not being able to purchase eggs or purchase milk or purchase, groceries or Nintendo Switch. That's a great example, actually, because these guys, I think, don't understand, because I don't think they purchase their own groceries. I assume mommy and daddy is picking up the slack there. But, the things that you enjoy, like video games and stuff, you're not going to be able to afford now.
They hate boomers. And now you have a system where basically boomers are getting absolutely f***ed by this system. They're happy. I think that many people really don't understand how popular revenge is. And that's it. Let's remove the boomers. Well, this will remove boomers. When they run out of money and they die because they can't afford health care, this is a boomer remover. It will be. Now, it might take a couple of years if the stock market keeps going down, but it will kill them. Now, it doesn't kill them directly, right? But it will do it in.
I'm predicting it right now. Asmongold is going to come out against the tariffs in a week when the market continues to plummet and people keep talking about how the cost of goods are going to skyrocket. And then his fan base starts recognizing that it's not all too hot. It's not looking too hot. And at which point he will swap over and he'll basically say something along the lines of like, yeah, well, they f***ed it up. Yeah. Not based. Because he's hedging. But because it's seemingly he doesn't have a fully established position here. Bro, of course he's against tariffs. It'll destroy Starforge PCs. Does he still own? I mean, I guess he still owns Starforge PCs. But he's not talking like a guy who hates tariffs right now. He's talking like a guy who is understanding of why a lot of people are resentful towards the stock market crashing without actually talking about the real impact these tariffs are going to have, specifically on the cost of goods.